Yeah, I like to be different. That's what I'm saying. I like to hold you. Stand out.
I was I agree. It does not. We're talking about the tax rate.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
See what I did? I just used all the tips.
2 a.m. is the right time. Yes.
I knew when I saw those that was saying.
All right, good evening and welcome to the regular Heath City Council Meeting, February 10th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. If you'd all stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance, please.
Let's come together in prayer. Dear Lord, we come before you with grateful and humble hearts, thankful for the opportunity to serve our community together. We ask that your Spirit guide our council members, staff, and citizens, granting wisdom, compassion, and integrity in every decision. We pray for peace in the world marked by conflict and uncertainty, asking comfort for those who suffer and wisdom for all who seek reconciliation. Be with our teachers, first responders, healthcare workers, our military veterans, and all others who serve. Bless those who are sick, grieving, or feeling alone. Bind us together in unity and purpose, and may all that is said and done here honor you and serve the common good of our great city, Greater Rockwall County, and the great state of Texas. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Now pledge the U.S. flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
God bless Texas. Thank you. All right, moving into agenda item number 2. This is our public comment section. Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Mayor, council members, we have Phyllis Salverson here to speak.
Ms. Salverson, if you'd like to take the lectern.
Good evening. I'm Phyllis Salverson, and I live at 626 Sarita Circle in Dar Estates. Been here a long time, 33 years. And my voice is a little bit breaking tonight, not quite my usual. But I'm here because there's a construction of a new home, beautiful new home next door to us. The original home burned down October 15th, 2023. I'll never forget that. However, right now, I have a problem with it. This does not have anything to do with what went into the house or with the house. It's what's going on outside. There's a landscaper who does yard mowing and all kinds of things like that. And they're working in the yard over there. And they're building we're on the lake, so all of our lots from the street come right down. They took the front part of that lot and chopped it about half and half. And it kind of left this big hole there for a good while. And we were very interested in what was going to happen there. And then about maybe 2-3 months ago, they started bringing in monster huge rocks, and that's fine. If they want to put rocks on their lot and whatever, that's their right to do so. However, they have been, they go out somewhere and they come in with the big rocks and some that are maybe on small ones, which might be the size of this table, like that. But the big ones are really big and tall. They spend a lot of time now and have been for well over a month, probably a month and a half, almost probably 2 months. And what happens whenever they put they're sawing those, I guess, to get them the way they want to do, whatever they want to do, it creates a huge fog. And that's why I have a bad voice. They worked all day today. When that happens, my eyes get red. I came in this afternoon to talk to Lisa about it. And she says, oh my goodness, your eyes are all red, what's wrong? And I feel uncomfortable because I've got very red ears, not my facial color. Of course, here you always want a little of that, but you don't want it on your ears. So any place, like that, my eyes are extremely dry. My nose gets all caked up. I have to try to put water or something in it to try to get that handled. And the ear situation. And I know we have fire ordinances, we have light ordinances, but what about the environment and air pollution? We can't, there's no need to try to wash a window in your house because as soon as they start up with that, it's all over. You can get your car cleaned up and doesn't help. Inside my house sometimes it actually is coming into the house because it looks like, I can look down, we have a long hallway in the front of our house after the entry, a long hallway, and it looks down there and it looks like it's fog. And something has to be done about it. And Lisa said she was going to come out this afternoon. I don't know if she did or she did not, but she said she was going to come out and look into it. And she asked me a few questions about it. The rock thing goes all the way across the front of the lot where it was cut. And probably the rocks are so huge, they might come out, 2 to 3 feet? About 3 feet, probably more so than 2. So it's pretty wide coming out. And they're always down there sawing on it. And I've already talked about that. But it also, occasionally, we definitely, on Lake Ray Hubbard, we definitely have a very prominent south-blowing wind. So it's generally coming right at us. And other houses are just like mine. They've got the vents up, and so it's coming right through there and down. And I'm having a real problem that I'm going to have to see my doctor about because, I can't keep going with all of this going on. So anyway, I just want you to know about it, and I want you to do something about it, and I want us to make sure we have a good environmental air pollution ordinance, so this doesn't happen again. And by the way, the height of that fence, I know I'm not very tall, but it's a little taller than me, the height of it. And so it's a big project that they're working out there.
Thank you, Mrs. Salverson.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Mr. Alexander, I assume that your staff will be looking into this. Thank you.
Absolutely,
All
Mayor.
right. Any other public comments? No. Very well. Moving into agenda item number 3. This is our city manager comments and council comments. Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Mayor, I have no comments.
No comments at this time. Council, the floor is open for any comments that you may have. If there are no comments, then we will close down that portion of the agenda. We'll move into agenda item number 4. This is our consent agenda. 4.A, this is action regarding the minutes of the February 4th, 2026 regular meeting. 4.B, action regarding a resolution calling a general election to be held jointly with the Rockwall Independent School District and administration by the Rockwall County Elections Administrator and Kaufman County Elections Administrator on Saturday, May 2nd, 2026, for the purpose of electing a mayor and 2 council members for places 3 and 5 for 2-year terms, each designating the entire city as one election precinct, designating the polling places, designating filing deadlines, ordering notices of election to be posted and published as prescribed by law in connection with such election, and providing an effective date. 4.C, this is action regarding a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for joint election services with Rockwall County Elections Administrator for services related to the May 2nd, 2026 general election. And then 4.D, this is action regarding a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for joint election services with the Kaufman County Elections Administrator for services related to the May 2nd, 2026 general election. I believe all of council has had time to review this consent agenda, so at this time, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I might move that we approve the consent agenda.
We have a motion by Councilman Ownby. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Councilwoman Horn. The motion moves. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Moving into agenda item number 5, items for individual consideration. 5.A, discussion and action item to award water line improvements for increased fire protection in Candlelight Park. Mr. Dormier.
Good to see y'all, Mayor and Council. The Candlelight Water Line Replacement Project, we designed the plans. We're doing some improvements in Terry Lane to get the water down there and then replacing the lines within the Candlelight Park subdivision. Similar to the way this is the, I believe, 4th edition of the line improvements in the city in different areas. And we opened the bids on January 12th, 2026. The bid ranges quite a lot. We had 19 bidders, which is really a bunch for these days. I'm seeing this in other places too. We're getting more and more bidders on things. The bids range from $1.59 million to $5.65 million. And we actually, in that, a couple at the end before the fire were in the $3 million range. So it was quite an area. Like I say, the purpose of the project was to upgrade existing lines to provide fire flow. And our recommendation is to award the project to Hayes Construction for $1,591,065 with 180 days, calendar days of construction time. Hayes Construction was actually the contractor that did the similar type work in Antigua Bay, our first project, and we were very happy with them. They did a great job. They're familiar with the city, so we're comfortable with their bid, and as are they. We've talked to them, and so that would be our recommendation to the council.
We Very good. Thank you, Richard. And at this time, council, do you have any questions for staff?
I have a question.
Councilwoman Horn?
So just thinking about how important this project is, what, are there weather days worked into this 180 days?
No.
No. So it's possible that it could be extended if we
Well,
want.
no, they would have to, well, let's back up. So the bid is clearly 180 calendar days.
Gotcha.
And so, you know, if there were some severe type episode that you normally wouldn't anticipate, they could ask for some weather days, but there's no guarantee they would get them.
Okay. And in the last time that we used them, how were they at staying on time with projects?
They did fine.
Excellent. Thank you.
Councilwoman Thurgood?
Yeah, I'm just curious, when Hayes Construction did the project in Antigua Bay, was it a similar price? And given how many bids, are you getting a better deal now? Is it just the more eager market?
Well, I mean, what I'm hearing from contractors is they're now having to go further and further away to find work. So I'm talking to folks that are going from here down to San Antonio bidding on projects now.
Wow.
So I think the work is slowing down for a while.
Agreed. Councilman Dotson?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Richard, what are the size of these lines that are going into this neighborhood?
They're 8-inch.
8-inch, okay. And this may be a question for Mr. Creed. The overall timing of our fire flow project, I know that we had initially intended for all neighborhoods to be completed within a 5-year plan at the time of inception. And I'm just kind of wondering where we stand today on that, knowing that this is one of the last remaining large neighborhoods.
Councilman Dotson, to that effect, me and the city manager have discussed this, and we've asked FMI to go ahead and complete all the plans for all the new stages. We've seen some significant savings in projects lately, and I think the thought process is to move forward with even more speed.
Okay.
If the council so desires.
Right, so you think, I guess, then that the overall completion of this will be from the time that we started, 5 years or less?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hopefully. Now, that's up to different factors, but that is the intent, is to go ahead and move forward with the remaining.
Right.
There's some things to factor in here, is construction fatigue and dig up the whole town.
Yeah.
You know, there's some things to weigh there, what we want to do for the citizens. In relation to this project, I don't know if you've noticed on that map, but there was quite a bit of this on Terry Lane.
Yeah.
So we would need to work probably with Boardwalk on how we get the notice to proceed and the scheduling and the staging for this contractor, not to probably have both of them out there at the same time might be a bad idea.
Right.
Or maybe even have Terry Lane completed, so that we're not tearing up Hubbard, Terry, and everything in between.
Gotcha. Understood. If you can remain just for a second, obviously, you know what my next question is. There seems to be about a $1.4 million positive variance out of this, which is great. It's greater if we can reinvest that either into the comprehensive nature of this fire flow project or into our road repair projects that I know is coming up later in the agenda.
Yeah, it would not be able to be utilized. This is CIP for this utilization.
I think it's impact fee.
No, it's not
Okay.
impact fee money. So you may recall that we have a couple of capital projects funds. We have a general capital projects fund, Right. and we have a utility fund, capital
Right.
improvement reserve.
Right.
This project and other fire flow projects are being funded through that utility capital improvement reserve.
Yep.
And so since that money has been funded through utility rates, it's appropriately assigned toward utility projects.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
you'd keep it on the utility side, but to your first point that you were making, which is great, that's why we're talking about potentially going to engineering with the delta that we have, with the
Right.
timing. Now seems to be the proper time where the iron's hot to go ahead and start teeing up the rest of this so we can hit that 5-year.
Right, so pushing the positive variance into engineering so they can be shovel-ready
That's right.
when the crews vacate one project and can start on another. Gotcha, okay, understood.
And/or run concurrently to bid out those other jobs to secondary firms.
Right,
And to that point, since the total amount of this project is already an annual appropriation, we don't have to worry about amending the budget or anything like that. It's just a matter of getting the contracts for consulting work approved by council, move forward on design, and then go to bid.
understood. Thank you all very much, appreciate it.
It's great point. Thank you. Okay, any other questions, council, for staff?
Okay.
Thank you, Richard,
Thank you.
appreciate it. All right, very well. If there are no further questions, and those are good questions. Actually, Mr. Dormer, I do have a quick question, if you can take the lectern. As you were showing on the diagram, the one question I have is a technical question for, it looked like there was some lakeside properties that the line comes to a roadhead on the backside of Candlelight, but you also have a new roadway that comes into another new property to the west side. Do we have any concerns with that? On the bottom left, you're cutting across. You're cutting under the roadway and up. But
Okay.
do we have proper flow? I see that we're coming down to that
Coming.
cul-de-sac, which is, I think, 3 different parcels, and I don't know if it's one property owner or not. But
Yeah, so you're talking about the properties to the bottom?
correct.
So those have, I am having, how do you do the pointer here? Yeah, there we go, okay. So there is a brand-new line
Okay,
across there.
on the backside of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it goes up and ties into this point.
Okay, so it's a tie-in.
And then there's a brand-new line coming down this way to Bromley that
Okay.
the developers built to those 2 houses.
Very good.
Yeah.
That was my question. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, very well. Those are the last of the questions, so the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
I motion that we award the project to Hayes Construction in the amount of $1,591,065 for the project to be completed in 180 calendar days.
Okay?
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilman Dodson. We have a second by Councilman Myers. There are no further questions at this time. The motion moves. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Moving into agenda item 5.b, discussion and action regarding the ordinance approving the amended budget of HMBC, HEDC fiscal year 2025, 2026. Mr. Ayers.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item is to discuss an action on an ordinance amending the HMBC and HEDC's FY26 budget. This is just a summary of what's in Exhibit A1. They split the maintenance worker position, that's a transfer, out of their fund, as well as the EDC director, that'll also be a transfer. You won't see any amendment on the city side until an agreement is executed for those 2 positions, but that's just a breakdown between those 2. The dog recreation zone is $25,000, which is covered by the HMBC. They both they requested increases on legal expenses on both sides, marketing, and they also asked for $50,000 as capital towards beautification, and then the 2017 Lawrence payoff. This is just a fund balance summary. Originally, FY26, the adopted budget had their fund balance for the HEDC ending at $2 million. Same for the HMBC. With those amendments, their ending fund balance in HEDC is $1.3 million, and the HMBC is 1.8 roughly. And staff recommendation for tonight is the approval of this ordinance amending their budget for FY26.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Ayers. At this time, the floor is open for council for any questions of staff.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Dodson?
Jay, I see that there's an economic developer or development director position here, but I don't see any objectives for this person, which I think is pretty important for us to understand what their charge is going to be and what their KPIs, at least from a macro level, look like. Number one. then I have two other questions, but let's take that one first.
Yeah, I can speak to that. So the staff, under Mr. Alexander's leadership, they're working on a job description to start teeing it up, to start the interview process. Ultimately, they're looking for an economic development director that has years of experience on doing economic development for, a growing city.
Right.
But also, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but looking for someone that does have the development experience, not necessarily just the solicitation experience of trying to bring in unique businesses, but also looking at what are the plans? What's
Like
the
a
best way
Mr.
to guide-
Wavering type from Rockwall.
Yeah, I can't speak specifically to
Yeah.
that gentleman's resume,
Yeah.
but yes, a high-level talent of individual. There is no specific KPI. There's just kind of a macro, this is an ideal circumstance. And they're really looking at two different elements, one being, EDC director, and then also, they've got an RFQ out right now for developer and/or consultant to help us understand what the town center overlay district could and should look like. So they're kind of running, I would say, both traps, if you will, but very much understanding that they're at a growth inflection to try to address the economic development of the city, with also the backdrop of what this council's talked about numerous times, is that, hey, if you're going to have legislation that does create compression on property taxes, and all of us do want to see property taxes come down, but ultimately we need to start working with professional individuals that understand how can we do that to supplement.
Yeah, we absolutely need an offset.
Yeah.
I would agree with that, with our, anemic but planful, type of commercial footprint right now. And I'm not advocating that by any means we move forward with an aggressive footprint, but we need some type of an offset.
Yeah, and these
because
things-
that change is coming.
You're right, and these things take a lot of time. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not something you snap your fingers at, and so, that's why I do like the direction that they're going, is they're really trying to look at both.
Right.
They understand that, hey, we're at a growth level that we need to be mindful of, okay, we need talent to ensure the safety of our sales tax dollars as it currently sits, right?
Yeah.
So just so the council, and I'm sure everybody here understands on the dais, is that, we got to think about too, if you were to ever lose any of that sales tax revenue, your economic development corporation and that director would then look for opportunities on, hey, how do we fill that gap, right? So you look at more built-out cities, and they look at a large footprint that goes vacant. That's just as important as, okay, we've got a piece of raw land, right? And what are we going to do with it?
Right.
So we're not there. We're not experiencing that. But as we mature in due time, we don't have a crystal ball. So I do think that their strategy is very smart, that they're looking at both as separate highways.
Right. Are we looking at a retained search for that role?
So we may go ahead and do this one internally. The last couple of positions, I've had somebody assist or a consultant assist.
Right.
It seems to me we can put this together and do this internally, but so at this point, no.
Gotcha.
Not to say we can't. I mean, we can certainly do that. But to kind of tag on to what the mayor was saying, and I think everybody knows this, but for the public's benefit, right now we're doing economic development on a part-time basis from a staff's perspective, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about how our organization is structured, we have subject matter experts that help us in those subject matters, DPS, finance, legal, so on and so forth. But we don't necessarily have a subject matter expert that's helping us with economic development. We're all catching it as we can,
Right.
and we're doing the best we can, but to the mayor's point, to have somebody that's focused on this critically important topic for our community, day in and day out, looking ahead, able to react to situations that might occur, working with retailers on a regular basis, working with the board on a regular basis, working with the council on a regular basis from an economic development standpoint, I think will be very beneficial in the long run.
Yeah,
Councilor Dodson's all too
listen,
familiar for his years on EDC.
At the end of the day, I'm in violent agreement for this position. So let me just be on the record for my violent agreement with this,
He's actually
with
over
all of
here
your
tapping
statement.
it with a level
Right.
of excitement.
Right, okay.
With good
so
questions.
thank you, Steve. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jay. Last question. The dog park piece, right? That's kind of a cool development for the city. What do we reckon the development timeline will be for that, given the money that we may be
10
approving?
to 14 days. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Miss Gordon, if you take the
Okay,
floor.
yeah.
I just did that to throw them
Yeah.
off. They're like, what?
Okay, that might be a little bit ambitious, but we don't.
This town is under construction.
Exactly. But we don't anticipate it taking too much time. It is essentially retrofitting that large fenced-in space where the two the EDC properties are right now.
Can you be any more vague than not too much more time?
We can be.
Yeah.
I would say.
Does the project have a plan yet?
We do have a concept plan.
Okay.
And so I would say within a month or so, we should be able to get that done. Yeah, it's essentially, we're looking at adding.
Don't let him force you to overcommit.
Everybody at home, that's now 30 days from today.
Essentially what that encompasses though is making sure the fence line is adjusted, putting in some new fence,
Yeah.
and adding a couple of ADA parking spots,
Gotcha.
and then some light amenities for dogs to use.
Understood. Thanks,
Yep,
Chelsea,
absolutely.
Steve, and Jay. Thank you all very much.
And we even have some interested parties to potentially be donors for this temporary dog zone, so.
Yep.
But their requirement was, it has to be done very quickly, so just a side note. We'll see. Okay?
Well, yours was 14 days, hers
Yeah.
is 30. We split the baby, we'll go 21.
Man, I
Let's go.
tell you what, they cut themselves short. They have like 9 huge projects going, and at the same time, you got a community room that's
Right.
on almost done with phase 1. You guys were installing the fence. I mean, I heard you talk about it one day, and 4 days later you got a fence. I mean, come on, you guys are on fire.
I didn't
You're doing a
realize
great
Highland
job.
Park allowed so much sandbagging, but.
That's right.
Okay.
And just for everybody's benefit, there is a public hearing on this next week at the Economic Development
That's right.
Corporation.
Right.
Since it is 4B, a 4B project, it has to go through a public hearing.
Gotcha. Thanks, Chelsea, I appreciate it.
And for those at home and those that are here, I mean, the idea is everybody here on the dais completely agrees, is that if we have city land, let's make it something that the citizens can utilize. We always talk about, in 10 years, we're gonna do something, right? Okay, well, Chris Cooney Drive had a game plan and it sat there for a lot longer than 10 years, so I think that anything that we can do to make this, services abound and more outdoor spaces just goes in line with being a premier outdoor lifestyle community. So I'm very excited of what EDC is doing. I'm very excited that you guys are taking on this new project, and you have a lot on your plate, but we're very appreciative. Okay, very good. Other questions? Great questions. No other questions for Mr. Ayers? Very well, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the proposed budget amendments to the HMBC and HEDC FY 2025-26 adopted budgets.
Very good. We have a motion as stated. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second by Councilwoman Horn. If there are no further discussion, the motion moves. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Moving into 5.c, discussion and action to approve multiple quotes through TIPS Purchasing Cooperative to authorize boardwalk paving to make street repairs to support the Heath Street Maintenance Program. Mr. Creed.
All right, thank you, Mayor, and hello again, council. This is the same thing you've seen before. This is our part of our street repair and maintenance program. Tonight, we're presenting you with 8 quotes that affect 15 roads in the city of Heath. I can certainly name and go through those if you like. It's Timberline, Sleepy Hollow, Crest Ridge, Rush Creek, Emerald Cove, King, Ridge Point, Eagle Pass, Dove Hill, Chippendale Creek, Cedar Creek, Old Vineyard, Dennis Bailey, and Rachel Drive. We also have a couple of change orders that affect Heathland Crossing and Country Club in here. We had to do some additional concrete work on those. These are representative pictures of some of those roads I've seen here in our PowerPoint, and it's the same thing we see with the very large failures in these pictures. You can see continuing down the roads there. spalling, cracking, sinking around manholes, things of that nature. It's very representative of what we see everywhere. We've already fixed multiple areas of the city of Heath with these same type of problems, and that's what we're presenting you with tonight. The change orders in here are a little different because they are add-ons to work orders you've already proposed and have been accepted by you guys. These were identified additional conditions as we got out there on site and we began to open up the ground. We saw subgrade issues and things like that that had to be addressed. So we'd like to bring those for you tonight to get those sewed up and make sure that we're correctly fixing the roads for you. The repairs on this are going to impact the budget of another additional $373,373.77. And that would bring our balance for this year's budget down to $369,102.17. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Very good.
If I can.
Thank you, Mr. Creed. At this time, the floor is open for any council that has questions for staff.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Dotson?
376K that remains is gonna go pretty quick. If each one of these projects-ish averages 50 to 90,000 for what remains on that, right? It'll take us a while to get this next tranche initiated. I brought this up before in this setting, and I'll bring this up again, that we should be actively considering and looking for other areas where we can find dollars to keep these crews working and to keep them executing against the TIPS plan that Brian and the infrastructure team has outlined.
Councilman Dotson, that'd be in 5D.
Yep.
What you referenced. Okay. Any other, did you have any questions?
No other questions.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, actually, there is one. Larry Drive, where is Larry Drive? Sit on our program. That is, I know a large one, right? It's probably more of a capital, a rebuild.
Yes, sir.
Than it is a redo, so that's probably why it doesn't appear here. I just wanted to have that discussion.
No, you're right to point that out, Mayor Pro Tem. The Larry Drive is not currently on our CIP. We do understand that it is a road, as we look at it, as one we believe is a reconstruct project.
Yeah.
Complete reconstruct. If you
Yep.
recall, that was as I understand it, a concrete road that had an asphalt overlay, and, so the curb and gutter's been filled in. Yeah, the curb gutter's been filled in with asphalt, so that's non-functioning. There's all sorts of problems with the road. And so as we get into this next year's budget process, which is imminent, working with the city council on the CIP list, that will be one of the projects we'll bring forward as a project and identify a funding source for that project. Whether that funding source be a bond issue, whether it be existing resources that we might have available to us, whatever the case may be, we'll identify that for you and have that conversation at that time.
Gotcha. Thanks, Steve, very much.
Yeah, and it's a key road too, because the discussion is to figure out, as Terry Lane gets done and the trail gets done, how do you get them here?
Yeah.
So Larry is very much a discussion point, because you do have a lot of right-of-way concerns as far as textile off Smurl. So I do think that to Mr. Alexander's point, it's not in this budget, but it easily could be one of those number one. Let's go get this in this next year's budget for CIP
Given the
purposes.
criticality, I'd also just like to see us continue to engage with the citizens along that street and make them. Well, listen, I know that they're jumping angry about sort of the road that they've had to travel down, but I just think that it could be very positive for us to engage them as we look to codify that particular project.
No, I chuckled because that's very much the conversation.
Yeah, understood.
So, very much Mr. Alexander and his staff talking about, hey, it's time to engage Larry Drive and let's talk to them about not only the road, but also, there's no sidewalks. I mean, it's an old road.
Yeah.
And so how can we kind of address all of that?
Mr. Mayor, just want to assure everyone on the dais that this has been discussed. It is on the agendas in the subcommittee, and we are working to that.
Good, very good.
That's great to know.
Love that. Thank you. Love the subcommittees are still working. So those of you that are home or in the audience, these council members are working tirelessly not just what you see in these meetings. They are working in subcommittees and working with staff ongoing from customer service to road infrastructure to water. And so I do thank you guys, because I am not party to all those different subcommittees for quorum reasons. I hear that. I hear that. I hear you guys are keeping it lively. That's why I keep saying this city's under construction. And when we come out from the dust, no pun intended, when we come out from the dust, it's going to be pretty nice. So, all right, very good. Are there any other questions on this agenda item? Councilwoman Horn.
Mr. Mayor, not to beat a dead horse,
Yeah.
but as we are celebrating all these roads getting fixed, and as the community is celebrating, those folks on Larry who've been here many, 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 many years and have watched everyone celebrate, I just want to reiterate, we hear you and we have not forgotten you, and that is, I'm glad Scott brought it up. I brought it up at the last meeting, and it is important to us. But my question to you is, anytime we have a change order, it's important for me to make sure that I understand fully what it's about, because this is the funds of the citizens of Heath, and we want to be responsible with them.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to Country Club, the change order in the amount of approximately $269,000.
No, okay, hold on. So we're change ordering the original quote by $18,000.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant.
I
Yes,
apologize.
but can you tell me what, I'm reading in here, it looks like, and I'm not sure if I understand this, so maybe you should just tell me, it was curbs that needed to be repaired? Or what is the change order about?
So what we ran into is, especially in Buffalo Creek and specifically Country Club in various areas, it was differences in thickness of the existing concrete. And in particular areas, we ran into some very, very thick concrete, and in some areas, some very, very thin concrete. In this instance, we ran into some very, very thick concrete, and underneath that concrete, the subgrade had gone very poor. We had to do additional subgrade work, and it required additional concrete to move further into the next panel. That we had to make that call in the field rather than tie to a problem. We moved forward.
Okay, thank you for the explanation.
Yes, ma'am. And the same would apply with Heathland Crossing. We saw the same varying depths there. You had some really thick, and then you had some that wasn't so thick. So I don't, you know, how that happens, but sometimes it happens, I guess.
Okay, great question, thank you.
And this is the kind of stuff, sorry, Mayor, this is the kind of stuff we're gonna run into on remodel projects, right? And which is what we're doing. You know, we're going in and fixing these roads, tearing stuff out, and once we get in there, they're gonna find stuff, and that happens, it will happen from time to time.
Appreciate the explanation.
We want it to be good.
Absolutely.
Very good. And then a question I have, and I feel as though I may know the answer, but when you get these estimations broke down, are you verifying that the price per square foot stays consistent throughout?
We are.
Okay.
We are. And I don't know if you recall, I guess it was a couple times ago, but it wasn't that long ago, we even compared it to the prices we had on the sealed bids for Hubbard on the concrete and the flex base, and they were within a few cents.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we cover that too. Okay, all right, very good. Any other questions for staff?
No questions, but a comment or two.
Councilman Omby?
Yeah, I've witnessed the Heathland Crossing. I could tell that they were doing more than they had planned on doing, and we discussed at least a couple of times in council that we would find some of those issues. So, you know, I think those are very reasonable change orders, and I think they're doing an excellent job. I just want to commend you, sir, and the staff and Boardwalk as well, because, you know, we set out on a tear in the beginning to have some roads repaired, and we found a way to have, not to send it out to bid, not to dilly-dally, but to get some roads repaired, and you look at it, you know, a few months later, and we burned through almost $2 million, and we're looking for more. And so we're very intentional about what we're trying to get done, and I appreciate the speed at which staff has made that happen.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Very good, thank you, Councilman Omby. Councilman Mormon?
Yeah, I just had one question on the estimator did a great job on a lot of or almost all of them, on showing the square footage of concrete that was getting replaced, the subgrade, and the linear feet of the curb. But there was just a few of them that it was just a lot of math for me to go through it. Do you verify that? Because on the change order specifically for Heathland Crossing, it's just a bunch of math and it doesn't show a total on that. Did you have to go all the way through that to figure out what the?
So we go through
total-
each panel. I have a staff member that's all he does. He figures up the square footage. He's measuring your rebar prior, he's checking the size. He goes out for every pour. Prior to the pour, he goes out to every pour, post-pour. We are trying to do our due diligence and stay all over this.
Yeah, because it's a lot of different sections, there's a lot of math.
It is.
And maybe the estimator just didn't do the total, and so it just took me a little bit of extra work to go through and do all that.
It was beyond the limits, and we ended up with more cubic yards because of the depth we had to go to in some of the areas where it just made sense to just go ahead and thicken the concrete up there and put back what was there, but it added some cubic yards, and it added some linear feet as well to the entire project, as Councilman Omby referred to.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was only just curious on the estimator making for sure that he shows the total on all of the estimates.
Understood.
Because there was a pattern there, and I was getting it, and then all of a sudden I got to some of the last ones, and the total wasn't there.
I'll make sure that gets put back. They have a program, it's really neat. I mean, you can see it on their tablet where it squares it off. You can see it on their, I guess it's CAD or something like that, that actually is figured. It's not just them doing it, with their calculator or abacus or whatever. They are actually utilizing a program for that. I don't have access to that, but I can see it when they use it, and we have to verify it the old-fashioned way.
Okay.
Councilman Mormon, I'm in agreement that math is hard.
Well,
There's a lot of numbers right here, and I was busy and in a hurry, so I was like, come on, estimators, do better than this.
to Councilman Mormon's
Understood.
point is that your estimation on these invoices on 77, 78, 79 don't actually do the full square footage
Okay.
like your other ones. So,
Okay.
Right.
To his point.
I'll
that's what
make sure that it occurs moving forward.
Okay.
We can still go back and ask them to.
We absolutely can. We can.
Not need to delay here, but we can certainly have them go back and rerun those numbers for us.
Yeah, just copy that, put it into AI, ask for the total square foot. Okay, all right, very good. Any further questions for staff? If there are no further questions, the chair will open the floor to entertain a motion. Thank you, Mr. Creed.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Mayor. I move that we approve the proposed boardwalk paving quotes totaling $373,373.77.
Second?
Very good. We have a motion on the floor stated by Councilman Omby. We have a second by Councilman Dodson. If you have any further questions, if not, the motion moves. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously. We're continuing to really do some amazing work with the roadway. And also to just a thank you, Mr. Creed, to your team. I know you guys have heard me say this privately, but when you think about all these projects, you look at, okay, you've got these subcontractors that are coming in and we're awarding these elements, but it's the staff that actually is out there checking not only these projects, but all the other projects that we keep approving, right? So we've just got a ton of work going on, and so for those of you at home, those of you in the audience, and obviously this day is, when you see these guys out there, I mean, these guys are working tirelessly. I'm very proud of them. So, Mr. Creed, if you just make sure that your staff knows that, and I know that I speak for this council. This council talks about it over and over again. In fact, Councilman Dodson sent an email the other day just saying how proud of your team he is. So thank you for that. And thank you, Councilman Dodson and council, for all the praise that you guys give. All right, moving into agenda item 5.d. This is the discussion regarding the additional resources, to Mr. Dodson's point, for the street maintenance program. As we're looking at rounding out what this large budget that we had, looking for those additional resources.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is just a recap of the ongoing road projects that are currently in queue to get done, and some that have been done. We have the Hubbard Drive reconstruction. That's from Michael Drive to Smurl. $5.4 million project. The Terry Lane improvements, which is a Kaufman County reimbursement bond program, at $1.5 million. We had the Meadowview Bridge, I believe that's completed. And then the street maintenance repair program for $966,000, with a small balance left on there. The total planned roadway projects for FY26 is $8.7 million as it stands. This is just a recap, the same slide that Brian showed you earlier. Right now you have, 2025 initiated the citywide streeting program, which was just programmed to the 10-year capital plan. Those funds are just about expended at $369,000 remaining. And in that 10-year capital program, there's roughly over $1 million program per year. I think that's through 2033. We're also in the process, through the budget process, we're going to identify future road projects that we'll also present to you all for consideration. And in that development of that, we'll also be updating our 10-year financial plan to address other future projects. So we're planning resources accordingly with those projects as they come about. And I guess what we're looking for you tonight, as Scott was talking about, is just some direction on what y'all would like to see us do moving forward.
Yeah, I think a couple council meetings ago, Mayor Pro Tem Dodson requested that we have a discussion about, are there additional resources available within the budget? Are there additional resources that we can expand the current street maintenance program for the current year? And of course, budgeting is all about priorities, right? And so we're needing kind of your direction and guidance on, knowing that we're about to enter into a budgetary process for the next fiscal year and go through what I hope to be and plan to have a fairly extensive discussion with the city council regarding our 10-year CIP and marshaling the resources that we have available to us within our overall financial portfolio, if you will, to help us meet, that CIP. Is it the desire among council to kind of stay the course with the current plan as we get through the budget, or, do we want to dive into trying to reallocate resources in the existing budget, which I think would be a bit of a challenge, at least at this point in the fiscal year, or any existing fund balances that we might have to extend the current program for the current year?
Councilman Dodson?
So-
So at this time, the floor is open
Thanks.
for discussion.
So Steve, I guess, from my perspective, I like to embrace and as opposed to or. The concern that I have is that we work at this feverish pace to get so many projects done, and then we just literally come to a screeching halt for the last 5 months of the year, maybe, and that's variable, right? While we're putting our plan together for the next 10 years. I think we need to be planful and intentional on our strategic vision for how we look at roadway construction in our city. And as Jay mentioned, we have some annuity, dollars available to the tune of about $1 million a year, which go towards street repairs. But this year we're gonna exceed $2 million in street repairs. And I would imagine, Brian, without looking at your tips list, that in all likelihood we could easily spend another $2 million next year. Right? So we have to be intentional in not only our forward planning, but I think that if there are some pickups in the budget, and Steve, I don't know the degree of difficulty on that maneuver, but if we can pick up some dollars in our budget and do put that towards completing additional projects, I think the citizens of Heath would be, the benefactors of that.
Any other thoughts or questions? Here would be my statement, and council, I'm not contradictory. I agree with you, Councilman Dodson. The one thing that I would say is be mindful of when you start looking at midterm in a budget and you're looking for, additional resources. Well, one thing is that we're in the middle of our annual financial audit, and we're also in the middle of concluding a lot of financial details and making sure that we are squared up on this, and we have state requirements to do so by March. End of March. So I would say right now, and Councilman Dotson's not, I don't think, making this recommendation that it's a right here, right now thing. I think what you're just trying to say is, hey, if and when, right, we get to a level of comfortability in our financial well-being, if there is, these additional resources, make sure that you're bringing it back to the council. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Mr. Mayor, it is. I think, just to be more tactical and pragmatic about it, there are about 6 projects that we approved tonight for some $360,000, right? That leaves us with a total operating balance of around $371,000 at about an operating cost per project of $70,000 to $90,000. That only gives us then 3 more projects to spend towards with the dry powder that we have available today. And we know what that is, right? Because our budget is capitated from the amount that's in there. So and again, I think my question, or at least my comment to Steve, was that depending on the degree of difficulty, and I understand we've got competing priorities here, if there is a way to reallocate and take a look at some areas of the budget that doesn't require a Herculean lift and a complete shutdown of your financial engine that you're also applying towards audit, I'd sure like to see some more dollars put towards road improvements or street repairs this year while we have a team that is literally blowing and going and getting these repairs done at like land speed record time.
Very good. Thank you for that additional clarity. The one thing that I would say, as this is, it's an open discussion item with no action, is just to basically give some direction is please keep in mind that we do, and this is kind of for everybody on the dais, is that we have 3 bridges that we are not sure at what point they will have a catastrophic failure. Meadowview is a prime example of one that sat on a CIP that should have been addressed sooner, right? Because essentially we had to shut down the roadway. The one concern that I do think about late at night, and I'm sure many of you probably do the same, is that there are 2 of these bridges that would essentially keep people from being able to leave their home. So as we look at road repair, the one caveat I would have is that when you have the delta, we really need to be strategic on how close are we to a catastrophic failure, because if we trap people in their homes, it's not going to matter how many more roads we get done with $300,000, we're going to have a huge problem. And that's a public safety problem. That's not just a quality of life problem. So keep that in mind as we do talk about this, and I do agree with Councilman Dodson, is that as we do wrap up the books and we are getting through this audit, is looking for, are there resources, are there potential opportunities for us? But as we said on the dais too, we need to be reminded that we do have some very vulnerable roadways, which you guys are aware of, right?
Yeah.
We know of, in fact, one of them we saw on a tour when you and myself and Councilman Moorman took office, and then another one that was brought to our attention, and then even TxDOT is it TxDOT that was looking at it, or? TxDOT. So, again, those are the 2 that I'm referring to.
I'm totally with you on that. I know that if we have a catastrophic failure, then that would trigger us to look at our fund balances, which are operating at an all-time high right now as well. And you have operating fund balances to manage the downside for catastrophic failures, exactly like you're talking about. So I know from a budgeting standpoint, we've got programmatic spend that goes towards things like repairs. We have CIP funding, and then we have fund balances. So we have multiple areas that we can look at within the budget that we have at our disposal. And I'm not suggesting that we do this or that. I'm suggesting that we really consider doing this and that.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing you, Mayor Pro Tem Dodson, say is really focusing on the current year's appropriations.
Yes, sir.
Are there surpluses, I guess, where we're not going to spend or don't anticipate spending the entire operating budget? Can we then take those savings out of current resources, not using our fund balances at that point, keep those kind of off to the side as we plan out our CIP. Because any excess we have in general fund balances, any excesses that we have in our capital projects funds, I see those going toward that overall planning, 10-year planning function. That doesn't mean as we get into it, we can't move stuff around. My bigger concern right now is what we don't know, really. I mean, Larry Drive just came up not too long ago amongst this group as a conversation about something we really need to tackle. Nowhere on the CIP,
Gotcha.
right?
Yep.
And so, and I'm sure there are other quote unquote Larry Drives in our community that we're going to have to add into a CIP and figure out how to fund. And so certainly as we proceed forward in this year and we see that there's opportunities within the operating budget, we might be able to move around. We can bring that back to council. And if council directs us to bring back those excess fund balance, we'll do what the council wants to do.
Right.
I'm just suggesting you might consider keeping that pot of money, your fund balances, keep that powder dry for the time being as we work through that 10-year CIP and understand what the scope, what the projects are.
I'm in complete agreement with that because of the CapEx required to do these major repairs. You know, you're not talking about $60,000-$90,000. You're talking about $1 million+
Yes, sir.
for one of these catastrophic repairs. So that powder has to be kept for those situations, and that's what they were designed to do.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Very good. Councilwoman Horn, did you have something?
All that I want to add to that is, we just have a duty to provide safe, drivable roads to our citizens. So to Councilman Dodson's point, let's see where we can make that happen with what we have left. And then if there is an area where you might be able to pull some funding so we can make a few more of those things happen, just let us know. Look and see where it is, let us know. I totally agree with the mayor. We need to be aware of these other major catastrophic failures that can happen. But let's talk about it. Let's see, what does that look like? Where could some of that money come from?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilman Obi?
Yeah, I had a question in that with the current burn rate, Mr. Creed, how much more would we might need to continue at that burn rate or that project? Cadence is a good word, yes, sir?
You're talking about to complete all the repairs that we've identified through the assessment?
I'm saying if we continue repairing roads roughly at the same rate we have been, what would be the net negative? How much would we need to find to just continue through the fiscal year?
It's a good question. It's kind of like,
What's the number, what number are we looking for?
Yeah, that is not a number we have run.
40+ projects in
Sir?
12 months.
Sir?
Yeah, 40+ projects in 12 months. I mean, that's essentially.
Well, as far as the amount of money, we have not run that number. In other words, we haven't gone as far to take all the PCI scored streets and lay them out as far as it would take this money to fix this one. That's a long, as you've seen the map, it's a long list. And so that's one of those things where we'd have to sit down, go to each of those projects, put a number to it, and we could use the 5 board numbers. It's not impossible. It'll take us a little time to run that number. It's just not a number we've run yet.
Yeah, and again, I'm not talking necessarily the projects that are left, but in the rate at which we've been repairing, how much are we spending? Are we spending $300 a month, or are we spending?
I think we're spending like 300,000 every 6 weeks.
300,000 every 6 weeks?
Yeah, no.
I mean, what is the cadence to make it the rest of it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do we need to find another $400,000, $500,000?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've just looked at it from a different perspective, that we have $920,000 to spend on road repairs. That's what we're
Yeah, I'm
focused
just
on.
trying to back
But
into
yeah, I
it.
mean, if we're gonna spend, $600,000 through half a year.
And we've got 376 left, so if
We
we
need
find
another
another two.
$350,000.
So
Yeah.
now to that point, in our agenda brief, we have,
Yeah.
in our agenda brief, we have 4 potential funding options, and I'd just like to kind of run through those, see what they look like. 1, reallocation of existing capital funds, use of available fund balance, pay-as-you-go funding, debt issuance, or other financial mechanisms. So I think we're kind of all a little averse to the 4th. We're not interested in that with some of the things that we're looking at, but
Right.
namely the first 2, the reallocation of existing capital funds. Do we have some net positive transactions that aren't in utility funds or other funds?
Not as of yet. I mean, so we're spending the full amount of the street maintenance money. There was a little bit left over off the Meadowview, though. I think we budgeted $1 million for that, and that should be purely street, capital improvement reserve money.
Yeah.
So, is that right?
So that's 210,000.
You have a little bit left that you can reallocate there. Hubbard was capital, was impact fee money and, developer money and some bond money. We have some bond money left over in the capital improvement reserve, but you're probably not gonna use that for repairs. You'd be more apt to use that toward a Larry Drive reconstruction project, follow me? And so, yeah, we can run that exercise and do that, but the only one that comes to mind at this point is Meadowview.
But the finger math that we just did just shows that we're looking for another 200K.
Yeah, right, yes, that's right.
To allow us to continue to repair roads, at generally speaking, the same rate that we are repairing roads at until we get to the next budget cycle.
Sure. You got it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Good.
Great question, Mitch.
Good perspective.
Any other questions, discussion? All right, very well. Let's finish that audit. Let's finish that financial, closing those books down. Let's make sure we know exactly where we're landing, okay? Great conversation. Let's get the finances all aligned, so. Okay, let's move into agenda item 5.e, discussion and action regarding approval of a Parks and Trail of Heath Path and Town Center Park donor pricing structure, including a menu of available assets. We've struck this item. We've already discussed this. We've kind of already given this approval. I think it made its way back because the park board said, hey, okay, we need to approve this and then send it back to the council. Once it was reviewed, it was like, well, we don't need to.
That's
keep
right.
going
I think
into
staff's
that.
perspective is that the park board's operating within the confines of what was approved by the council originally. Chelsea will send out an email to the city council letting you know kind of what the park board did as far as working within those parameters on their donor structure for different assets at the park.
Yeah, and so in general, as I sat through that path committee and the park board meetings, I would just recommend, let's get that asset list down on what all the assets are of this town center park, and then make sure that there is a complete working list. I know that there was a little bit of some, hey, they're going to focus on these handful, but there was a line item of a full basketball court that I don't think is in the town center park. So we just need to double check this. Look at what they're working on to make sure that we keep them headed down the original path. No pun intended. Okay. All right. Very good. Everybody good with that? So we're just striking that item. Okay, all right, very good. Making great time. We have no motions on that. So moving into agenda item number 6, this is our executive session in accordance with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551, Subchapter D. The City Council will recess in executive session. This is a closed meeting to discuss the following. 6.a, consultation with attorney 551.071 to conduct a private consultation with its attorney relating to pending and contemplated litigation, a settlement offer, and or a matter in which there exists a duty of the city attorney to the governmental body under the disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas that conflicts with Texas Government Code Chapter 551. This is our 212 agreements. We are now in executive session at 7:36.